Most homebuyers are setting themselves up for
failure without even knowing it.
and the number one mistake that homebuyers make is not the price they pay, it's what they ignore. I've met hundreds and hundreds of home sellers over the years. These are people who were so excited to show me their properties when it comes time to sell them. Now, these are people that have lived in these properties for quite some time, and they've gotten used to some of the little quirks that came along with the property when they originally bought it. These are features that most homebuyers, to be frank, find pretty unattractive. But these home sellers, well, over time, they just get used to them, and they even try and justify them back to me about how they're no big deal, or you barely notice it, or whatever the statement may be, trying to downplay whatever this particular property's detriment may be. Now, while they downplay what these unattractive features might be, the home buyers certainly do not. And failure to identify the top 5 deal breakers that most home buyers should absolutely avoid if they're buying a home is going to help them avoid having a major headache, not only while they are enjoying the property, but also when it comes time to sell it. And without paying attention to this information, they are setting themselves up for a major financial disadvantage, not only now, but also down the road when it comes time to sell. If you want to learn all about those, that's exactly what today's video is all about. Who am I? My name is Darren, team leader of the German group with McDonald Realty, serving the White Rock, British Columbia and Surrey, British Columbia and surrounding municipality markets. If you're considering buying or selling a home and you'd like to speak with me and my team, you can find our information in the description below where you can book a call to speak directly with me. So I'll never forget one of my very first opportunities to list a property. This was back in 2008, about a year after I had started real estate, and I was eager to help everybody and anybody who would listen. So the phone rings and it's this lovely young lady who's got a condominium in the Guildford area of Surrey, and she's looking to sell because she needs to free up some cash to do some other things with her life. So great, we're in the car, we're on our way over to go check out this property for this young lady. Now, this was in a newer building in the Guildford area. So as she greeted me in the front lobby, we went up together in the elevator and proceeded into the unit. And the unit was quite well finished. It was a nice unit in many respects. However, as we continued on with the tour, we finally ended up on the balcony of this unit, and my absolute worst fears for this girl came true. I was 25 years at the time, and like many people in their 20s during that time, we were frequent visitors of something called the Mirage nightclub, a staple in Guildford for any of the millennials watching this video. Here was the balcony of this young lady's condominium overlooking the parking lot of one of Surrey's busiest and most bumping nightclubs. This parking lot would have been jammed with people likely drinking from the nights of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and whatever other nights ended up turning up at the Mirage nightclub. I mean, heck, when I was 25, I might have been one of the people standing in that parking lot as well. I could not believe who had suggested to this poor girl that it was a good idea to buy a condominium that overlooked a nightclub parking lot. Of all the other properties that would have been available at the time within her budget, there surely was other options other than something like this. So naturally, when we went to value the unit, it came in considerably less than characteristically similar homes that might have been for sale or sold at the time. Because if you're paying attention at home, these other places didn't back onto a nightclub parking lot. The problem and the takeaway with this story is this could have been avoided with the right advice. Everything that this video is about today. Reflecting back on hundreds and hundreds of home sales and helping hundreds and hundreds of home sellers in White Rock, Surrey, and the surrounding municipalities, we've identified the top 5 things that are absolute deal breakers for most home buyers. And if you're considering buying a home, I kind of hope that they're deal breakers for you as well. And if these features aren't no-goes for particular buyers, well, they're going to expect to get your property at a significant discount. So you need to be aware of them to make sure that you're protecting your financial future as absolutely best as possible. And while we're talking about saving money and financial futures, if you want to download a copy of our 21 grants and rebates document, which shows you all of the government rebates and incentives that are available to home buyers just like you right now, you can find that below in the description as well. So coming in at number 1 out of 5 of things to watch out for when you buy a home, well, that's what's right near, in front, or behind your actual property. Like our friend from the story earlier, things like power lines, busy roads, parking lots, and more can have a significant impact on your resale value when it comes time to sell. And this is also going to lead us into number 2, because you're going to want to be very aware of what's coming in the future. Number 2 is all about development and zoning. And this is something that has been in the news a lot lately because it's just recently burned a ton of residents in an area of South Surrey. A petition outlining concerns of Grandview Heights area residents over the proposed Costco coming to the neighborhood has garnered 484 signatures and has been steadily growing since the release of this news article. The petition starter is a resident of the Berkeley Village townhome complex that sits directly across the street from the proposed Costco site at 1891 and 1947 on 164th Street. Now, many of these poor home buyers likely bought their homes directly from the developer, and that probably means they also didn't do all of their homework about what might be coming to the area in the future. Because they were purchasing from the developer, they decided to rely on the developer. And now that problems like this are arising, well, the developer can choose to deny that they were ever aware that this was happening or that they made representations otherwise. Think of what the impact of a development like this Costco coming to this neighborhood of South Surrey is going to have on the immediate residents of the area. It's going to add a ton of traffic to the neighborhood. It may prove to be unsightly for the residents of the area, and regrettably, it's most likely going to have an impact on the real estate values of not only the complex of the petition starter, but complexes near the development as well. And that's not the only type of thing that you need to be aware of in this kind of bucket that we're talking about development. There could be new roads coming through the area. There could be new buildings or developments coming to the area, but there can also be pretty significant zoning changes. In fact, in the summer of this year, there was humongous zoning changes that were pushed forward by the provincial government onto municipalities. So this means people in municipalities had no idea that these were even coming, and this is going to have monstrous effects of residents all over the Lower Mainland. In fact, we did a video on this exact topic, which has garnered tens of thousands of views on this very YouTube channel for a video that looks just like this, which we will leave below in the description of this as well. And this announcement has impacted people all over the Lower Mainland. As an example, we have a client that bought a beautiful old heritage home in an area that has now been designated as a transit-oriented area 3 years after they bought. Well, the problem for them is they've invested well over $200,000 into their property, renovating it for their needs for their family. And well, what's going to happen with that in the long run, not only with their investment, but with the property value of their area? Now, it's arguable that their area just went up in value because of these zoning changes as well, but that's only if they get what's called a golden door knock from a developer offering to buy them and the neighboring lots in their area. So hopefully, I wish them luck because they're really nice people and I hope it works out for them. The third on our list, similar to zoning, is just generally picking the wrong area to buy. Now, who's to say what is the right area or a wrong area for someone to buy in? I get it. Everybody's got budgets and people want the most for their money, so they're going to pick typically the neighborhood that's going to give them the best amount of value for their money. But area matters and you do get what you pay for. Let's use an example that in 2019, you had the opportunity to buy a home in the area of North Delta, or you had an opportunity to buy a home in the city of Surrey. Both respectfully really great areas to live. Well, those areas had different results over the last 5 years in terms of their price growth. So if that's something important to you, the takeaway from this is different areas grow at different rates based on what's going to be happening in those areas. From January 2020 to November 2024, the city of Surrey experienced a 51.9% growth in value. North Delta, which sides right onto the city of Surrey, experienced a 48.7% growth in value. In absolute terms, Surrey's value not only increased percentage-wise, but in absolute terms, Surrey's value increased by $80,400 more than North Delta's. This just highlights that different areas grow at different rates, so you're gonna want to pick a neighborhood that you think is gonna have the biggest potential to grow in terms of value if that's something that's important to you and your family. The fourth on our list is the amount of natural light that actually makes it into your home, and this is a huge one that most people overlook. Having lack of natural light in a home, well, it adds to a few things that buyers tend to have problems with. Lack of natural light typically leads to lack of space perception within a home. It can also lead to a negative ambiance, reduced energy efficiency, negative impacts on moods, challenges with interior designs, maintenance concerns, and of course the worst, poor resale values. So if you don't want to have a negative resale value for your property, consider finding a home that's got really great natural light, which is what the majority of home buyers prefer. The fifth and final on our list is the layout of a property. And this is one that I see so many people get wrong and fail to appreciate the impact of a negative or detrimental layout on the resale value of their property. Poor layouts in real estate can drastically impact real estate resale values because they affect how functional and appealing appealing a home feels to potential buyers. Homes with awkward room flow, wasted space, or poorly positioned kitchens and bathrooms make it harder for buyers to envision themselves living comfortably. Layout issues can also limit flexibility, furniture placement, or future renovations, making the property less desirable. Ultimately, a poorly designed layout forces sellers to either lower the asking price or wait longer to find the right buyer, both of which can hurt the bottom line. So there's some things I want you to think about when you're considering layout. I want you to think of lots of hallways, more typical of an older home or apartment building, versus a nice open space or floor plan, more typical of a newer condo or newer home or building. I want you to consider oddly angled walls versus nice square uniform rooms. I want you to think about poorly laid out kitchens or poorly laid out bathrooms. I want you to think about the placement of things like windows or doors or fireplaces that might occupy a ton of wall space. Or what about things like doors for bathrooms that open up right into the kitchen area? These are all things that buyers will catch and you're gonna want to consider before you commit to buying a home as well. So what do you do to avoid things like what we've been discussing in this video? Well, obviously working with a real estate professional who's aware of these things is a major step in the right direction, so they can help point these things out. And if you're interested in working with our real estate team, again, you can contact us in the link below in the description. But you definitely want to avoid the things that we discussed in this video so it doesn't impact your resale value later on as well. And if you found the information in this video useful, if you think you can use it in your search for your next home, please do me a favor and give the video a like to help the YouTube algorithm send it out to other people who you think might value from good information like this as well. Or of course, if you know somebody who's looking to buy a home, please consider sharing it with them. But before I let you go, I know that you might be thinking something. You might be thinking, well, buying new construction could be a way of avoiding all of these problems that Darren identified in this video today. And the problem with that is you're dead wrong. We've been recommending for years now that people avoid buying new construction for various reasons, but this video coming up next, well, this is all the reasons why we think it is a huge mistake. I'm gonna see you over on the next video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.